What's up everybody and welcome to today's video. I'm your host Phil, and today's video we're going to take a look at Celestion Digitals flagship software, SPEAKERMIX PRO. Let's dig right into it. Hello again and thank you for tuning in. First off, I owe you all an apology. It's been a very long time since I made my last video and I'm sorry for that. The fact is, my band Tempest has released their newest album, Point of No Return, in May, and that was a metric shit ton of work which we had to get done before that release, and then we had gig after gig after gig, and of course, you also want to live. You also want to spend time with your family and friends. And yeah, here we are at the end of October, short before Halloween. But as the days are getting shorter and the nights are getting longer and the temperatures are falling, I'm having more time in my small home studio man cave over here, and I can show you awesome software again. I'm super eager to show you some new stuff coming up. Speaking of awesome software, let's get right to SPEAKERMIX Pro. SPEAKERMIX Pro is basically Celestion's flagship software, the guitar cabinet simulation suite. And the speciality of SPEAKERMIX Pro is that it not works with impulse responses as usual. When you purchase the impulse responses, you get the wave files sent, or you can download them and you can put them into NADIR or any other impulse response loader. This works a little bit different. They call it the dynamic speaker response, and basically you have like a full-fledged picture of the cabinet of the speaker, so to speak, and you can blend them together in the suite. You can choose different microphones, you can choose different distances, and so on and so forth. So you have a lot more versatility than with the regular impulse response libraries. And I must say, I'm absolutely impressed. It sounds incredible. It sounds super realistic. It has a nice growl to it, which you know of real cabinets, but we'll get right into that. Due to the nature of SPEAKERMIX Pro having a ton of different options, and due to the nature of nobody actually wanting to watch like an hour-long video about Celestion SPEAKERMIX Pro, I have decided that I'm going to split talking about this plugin into different videos. So there's going to be basically kind of a video series all around SPEAKERMIX Pro. In this particular episode, if you want to call it so, we're going to take a look at the graphical user interface. We're going to talk about how the plugin works in itself, and yeah, just take a look at it. Kind of a first review, first peek into it. So Celestion Digital contacted me and will ask me if I'm eager to show you guys what SPEAKERMIX Pro sounds like, what it can do, and what kind of possibilities we got over there. And I was like, hell yeah, let's get this rolling. I've always been a fan of Celestion Digital's products, and as you guys know, I made multiple videos showcasing the sounds you can get out of their impulse response libraries. So yeah, basically Celestion Digital asked me and gave me a free copy of SPEAKERMIX Pro and gave me some DSRs. And all of that was only possible because you guys supported me by buying their products through the affiliate links, which I always post under my videos. So first off, thank you for supporting me. So technically this video is sponsored by Celestion Digital. However, I want to make absolute clear that all opinions, all things I say are my own views, my own opinions. I am not tainted in any shape or form by Celestion Digital, and I actually made very clear in our email communication that my review is gonna be honest. If I have something off my mind which I want to tell you guys about, which is not so nice, I'm absolutely free to do so. There's no obligation whatsoever from Celestion Digital's side to put any pressure on me saying only positive things or something. However, that said, it's freaking awesome. And we're gonna listen to it right now. So that's what it sounded like. You got a first impression. Let me first talk you through the signal chain, which I got over here, and then we're going to look a little bit deeper into SpeakerMix Pro itself. So basically, I'm running in this channel into different amplifier configurations, which I can switch on and off over here. They all are STL amp hub. The reason for that is I want to have a little bit of a consistency. And I think STL Amp Hub is absolutely the greatest guitar amp suite which is out there currently on the market. So, got for example a boosted PV5150, boosted PV-JSX, rectifier, JCM 800, AC30, Classic 30, but they're all turned off except for the JSX. From that, we're going straight into the SpeakerMix Pro plugin, and then we're going into a clipper. So you're not getting any clipping, and then it goes to Restream up into OBS. Now, SpeakerMix Pro, I set it to a default setting, so we're not hearing anything. Yeah, so there's that. Let me first explain to you how SpeakerMix Pro is built, you know, from a graphical user interface perspective, and then we're looking into tones. So first off, we got the input channel over here, where we can adjust the input gain. We can set up a delay, you know, like kind of a slapback delay thing. And then we got the Z curve. The Z curve is basically the impedance curve of a power amp. That's super important for the tone sculpting, but we'll get into that in a minute. Then we got 6 independent channels, which we can solo or mute over here, where we got a small room send. So we have the room channel over here, and we can adjust that one and then send a little bit of that signal and let it bleed into the channel mix. We got pan over here. We got a graphic equalizer, which we can activate by clicking on this, and then we got this small graphical equalizer. Very handy tool. We're gonna see that in a minute. And yeah, from there on, we're going to the room channel, as I said before, and then going into the master section, where we first got the master faders, a master equalizer, and some handy utilities like the auto level or the auto gain. The auto gain is very good for comparison reasons because it will automatically adjust the input and output levels, and that is especially handy if you want to switch to a multi-cab configuration, because usually that would be louder than a single cab configuration, and then you don't have the right means to compare that, because the louder signal will always sound at first strike better. That's just the nature of physics. So let's go straight ahead and engage the auto gain over here. This is now only the mixer section. We also got this over here, where we are shown the entire configuration which we have. In this case, we can see that in theory, as a kind of a default, but it's not really loaded yet, we'll get into that. Normally, they would choose the greenback speaker in the balance setting. So this is how near or how far you are between cap and cone. And what kind of cabinet configuration. So they got like 1x12 open back, 1x12 closed back, 2x12 open and closed back, and they got a 4x12 closed back. I'm focusing mainly on the 4x12 closed backs because we're here for metal, we're here for riffs, and that's what's regularly used in metal. However, I also downloaded a few of the other options out there to just showcase a little bit. So let's dive right in. By clicking in here, you are prompted with the screen where you can choose all the different speakers which you have downloaded, like the different DSRs. What is interesting is that they have all of their portfolio over here, like the backline heroes, even though they have not yet provided DSRs on their webpage. So I assume that this will happen as time passes by. At some point in time, every single product out of the IR portfolio will also be available as a DSR. DSR, by the way, as I said before, standing for Dynamic Speaker Response. So let's go over here and let's just select something. I'm gonna go with the greenback because I think the greenback is the cabinet which sounds best on its own. We're gonna choose this with a 4x12 configuration because I have nothing else downloaded, unfortunately, and we're going with the classic, the Shure SM50. Once you got that everything set up, you can close this over here, and this is now being shown over here, and I'm gonna solo this. So now we already got a starting point. One thing to note, what I had a lot of issues with was getting my actual DSRs to show in SPEAKERMIX Pro. There's a little bit of a trick over here. You have to go to your user folder. So first off, of course, you download the DSRs, you unzip them until you get the DSR files. Then you have to go into this path. So it's basically C, users, and then your username. You then go into Celestion, and in this folder here, dynamic underline responses, that's where you are putting all of the DSR files in there. And what's important, it only worked on my station when I was logging myself out and re-logging myself into the plugin. So in case you got any issues in finding anything, you're not getting any tone, you're not having any selection over here when you click on the speaker, everything is grayed out with that lock over there. Try that out, maybe that works. Okay, moving on. We got the auto gain adjusted. Now let's play a little bit around with the settings, see how they change the tone. So again, giving you the reference tone. So the first thing which I want to show you is how this slider over here affects the tone. When I go to thin, let's go like the very extreme. There we go. Now let's try some different microphones. We got 3 microphones with every single configuration. We got the SM57, we got the Royer R121, and we got the Sennheiser MD421. For me personally, that's absolutely enough. I don't need more. I don't want to be option paralyzed by any means. I think this is absolutely enough, and you got like the classics. So the Shure SM57 is a little bit scratchy. But that's the nature of an actual SM57. That's what they sound like. So let's go to the Royer. They sound way more refined, have a little bit more low end, but they lack a little bit of those nice and crispy highs, but they have like a very refined touch. I really like them. And then let's go with the Sennheiser. So there you got like the different characteristics. For comparison's sake, I like to stay with the Shure SM57. I just think that's the most common one. Everybody knows how a Shure SM57 on a, let's say, on a vintage 30 sounds like. So you got that reference point. Okay, let's move on and let's talk about the room microphone. The room microphone over here, you got several different things which you can adjust over here. You like different microphones. They sound vastly different to one each other. You got the width parameter where you can decide how big the room is and then how much volume that respective signal is supposed to get. Let's just play around. I'm gonna solo the room microphone so you're only listening to the room microphone. Okay, so I was not getting any sound. The reason for that was I didn't have this volume knob over here turned up. So make sure that you got that volume knob turned over there. Otherwise, you're not going to hear anything. Okay, so we are now exclusively got the room microphone on. So, the more you are opening the room, or the bigger you are sizing the room, the less low end you're getting, of course, which is natural because you are moving the microphone away in the room. So that's an absolute normal reaction in this case. I really like this combination over here. A little bit of a boominess to it, you know, and then slightly blended to the original. Let's first try without the room microphone. You can hear that this auto gain is always kicking in. It takes a little while. So that already sounds pretty good. Now let's go over to the Z curve. The Z curve is basically the impedance curve. The impedance curve is very important to simulate that interaction between cabinet and power amp. There's like this, it's not tube sag. Tube sag something different, but it's kind of like a sag. You know, it's kind of how the cabinet interacts with certain peak elements coming from the power amp and so on and so forth. It's hard to describe. It's kind of a feel thing. Sounds stupid. Everybody's saying, oh, it feels so realistic and so on and so forth. But that it is what it is in the end. So there's an entire rage in the internet around putting an impedance curve as an impulse response before the actual impulse response in order to get a little bit of a more realistic feel. Now, the Z curve is doing this already for you right in SPEAKERMIX Pro. Let's see what it sounds like, because it does in fact drastically also changes the way the tone, you know, kind of the tone unfolds itself. So that is in fact the difference. You can hopefully hear the difference. It kind of gets a scoop tone the more I drive the Z curve. From a playing perspective, it also has a different feel. It is a little bit more responsive. It has a little bit more attack. It's super hard to describe. I usually like the Z curve somewhere around 4 to 6, depending on the cabinet simulation setup. I'll leave it now with 4, for example, where it kind of starts to kind of mold into the tone. Yeah, okay, awesome, sounds great. Let's move forward and let's blend another cabinet, shall we? So the greenback has like a very aggressive midsection without being fizzy. You know, like it has this push, I would say. So let's just add something which brings a little bit of the fizz. And what could be better for that than the good old G12T75. At the bottom of my heart, I really hate the speaker, but we're gonna test it anyways. So let's go in there. I selected the second channel, as you can see, and I have adjusted everything to my likings. Let's listen to the speaker by itself. It's not my type of sound, absolutely not, but that's not the point. The point is, just imagine I want to now tame just a little bit those highs. I like the sound in itself, but it's a little bit, it has a little bit too much of that top end fizz. What I can do is I can cut these off with the equalizer, and I can do that by clicking on this over here. This opens the equalizer settings, and here I got plenty of different equalizers, which however now are not activated. By double clicking on them, I can turn them on and off. When I turn one band over here on, I can change its Q over here by adjusting this and sliding this small little rectangle. So, but however, I'm not interested in that stuff. I want to use a low pass. We're going to trim off slightly the highs. This is over here my element for that. Double click on this, and then you have basically the frequency set over here. I'm not sure if moving it in this direction does something. However, I like to keep it low just for making sure. Maybe it changes a little bit the slope. And then I'm gonna move this somewhere around 7,000 Hertz. That was that auto gain again kicking in. So let's move that back over here, around about 7,000 something. And the same goes for the low end as well. You can shift this to, I would say, somewhere around the 100 Hertz mark, a little bit less, a little bit more, depending on your liking. So, and then you can also tame even this speaker over here. You can then blend it a little bit into it. Let me blend this together with the greenback. Since I want to now compare, I'm gonna again engage the auto gain. So now that we have taken a deeper look into SPEAKERMIX Pro, what kind of a conclusion can we draw out of this? In my personal opinion, and that opinion is, as I said before, untainted or unaffected by the collaboration which I have with Celestion Digital, I think SPEAKERMIX Pro is indeed one of the contenders of being the best guitar cabinet softwares out there, if not actually being the best. And when I'm saying that, I have especially in mind how many hundreds of dollars or even $1,000 I have literally spent on impulse responses and guitar cabinet software simulations. Also, what I have in mind is the tone which I can get out of SPEAKERMIX Pro, as well as the feel, which is a very important thing to me. The feel is just basically like as if you were playing through a real amplifier in front of a real cabinet. Of course, it highly depends on the monitoring situation which you have in your home studio or wherever you're located and using this plugin. But for my purposes, it absolutely fulfills all of my needs. So what do you think? What do you think about the samples which I gave you or the tones which I've showed you? Do you think it kind of reflects really the sound which you get out of a real amp and cabinet combination? Let me hear your thoughts. Let me read your comments down below. And if you guys want to test SpeakerMix Pro for yourself, then I'm going to leave a link to the demo below. Try that out. Make your own judgment. Make your own informed decision on whether or not you want to purchase that. And thank you again for your ongoing support in purchasing stuff from Celestion Plus or Celestion Digital through the affiliate link, which I will also post down below into this video. It has made this video at all possible because Celestion Digital has become aware of you guys buying through that link. So that's really, really awesome of you guys supporting me. Also to Celestion Digital, which were amazing in the communication, which were super open and transparent. Thank you so much. If you like this video, I highly appreciate you subscribing, liking, commenting, whatever helps the algorithm. Guys, sorry that long for me to make another video. I hope I'm gonna be a little bit more on track on that front. I certainly have a lot of more motivation and inspiration. Basically, a company like Celestion, which I always admired, contacting me like a small guy, a nobody basically. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you everybody. Have a wonderful day and keep effing rockin', man.